This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. When we think about the COVID-19 vaccine hesitancy in the Black community, let's remember, it didn't happen by chance. It's justified in history. But the will to change the narrative is strong today, and our people are lending their voices to the conversation. We're sharing our stories and the reasons that made us choose the vaccine so we can lead the way for others to make a well-informed choice too. To hear our stories, visit hereforuswa.org.
Geico asks, how would you love a chance to save some money on insurance? Of course you would. And when it comes to great rates on insurance, Geico can help. Like with insurance for your car, truck, motorcycle, boat, and RV. Even help with homeowners or renters coverage. Plus, add an easy-to-use mobile app, available 24-hour roadside assistance, and more, and Geico is an easy choice. Switch today and see all the ways you could save. It's easy. Simply go to geico.com or contact your local agent today.
What's up? It's your boy, the Ted Smith. Thanks for listening to the Men's Room Daily Podcast. Want more? Check out the greatest podcast in all the land, The Podcast. Be sure to subscribe and listen to a brand new episode every Tuesday night.
The debauchery rolls on. You're listening to the Men's Room with Miles and Thrill. 99.9 KISW.
Got a chance to try the brand new Men's Original Ale yet? Ted, you had one over the weekend. Had a couple.
I did. It was delicious. I was up at the KISW.
You want to tell people what you did you get some of that barbecue?
It's a pool. They play pool there, Miles.
Oh, my bad. I thought it was.
I'm the idiot.
You were in Monroe.
I was going to the fair. We stopped at the KISW, and I was like, I ever see people eating barbecue? And they're like, yeah, it's about pool halls, cue balls. All right.
Yes. I feel stupid. In the spirit of the original ale, we're only making a few small batches to start out in on tap at a few locations, including, yes, the KISW Tavern in Monroe. Also available at the Dock Sports Bar and Grill in lovely Fremont, the Top Gun Bar and Grill in Puyallup. If you're looking for a location near you, just head to KISW.com. Of course, a portion of the proceeds benefit our friends at the Fisher House. This was the very first beer that was ever brewed by Elysian for our show, way before the Men's Room Original Red. Believe it or not, this is the original, and it's a tasty beer, man. It's easy to drink. Yeah. It's fantastic stuff.
It is very good. The last time I had it, we did our beer tasting. But lucky for me, Sounders game, rain game, double header down there at the stadiums. Elysian was open. I rolled in. I'm on the mothership, if you feel me.
Yes.
Order myself a delicious Men's Room. Like, yeah, sorry, we don't have it. Like, good God, man. That goddamn Elysian.
I think you're the only one that didn't have one.
I'm the only
Mike had one this weekend, too.
I was at Elysian.
Mike, where were you at?
I was at the Top Gun down there in Puyallup.
Top Gun.
Top Gun.
Is that a Tom Cruise bar?
You know what? It kind of, sort of. It does have some Top Gun stuff around there. It's literally right next to the airport down there in Puyallup.
Okay.
And so they got a bunch of little planes out there, and there's even a special that you can do there where you can get a burger and actually go on a flight.
What?
Yeah.
Like while you're eating the burger?
You might be able to eat the burger while you're doing it. I don't know if you'd want to, but it's part of the deal, yeah.
Huh.
I was looking at it. It's a great place, man. My first time being down there, and I was blown away. It was great.
I gotta look that up.
We got a couple of comments here. Most about about wiping your ass or the products that you use in the shower.
Okay.
But we also have one about rabbits. Miles, you brought up the fact that for whatever reason, I don't know if it's the pandemic, but everyone seems to have a lot more rabbits in their yards.
I do.
Right? And I do too, man. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, we were talking about them having sex. You said it's like a 5-minute courtship of chasing each other. 5 seconds are done, right? Well, someone here says rabbits have to be fast when they have sex because they're very delicious to all other carnivores.
Oh.
So now, mate, look, we just need to do this. I don't want to be eaten while I'm having sex, which is fair.
Yeah,
that is fair.
I never thought of that. I never had that thread before.
Why don't they get a room then or something like that? Why are they out in the open?
You could make $1 million with your Rabbit Hotel. Carnivore free and HBO. That always seems to be the big sell.
Right. No, it used to be air conditioning, color TV.
Let's see. As far as products that people use in the shower, Duke Cannon beer soap, enough said. Never heard of it. The guy that we talked to, he used Dr. Squatch. A lot of people like Dr. Squatch. I assume that's positive when you say Dr. Squatch bitches. Someone else says, I use the Dr. Squatch stuff. It's great. The Pine Bar has real pine wood chips in it. That's not a sales pitch for me, man. I don't want wood chips in my soap. That's just me. Yeah. Someone else says, a
lot of the local handmade soaps have like oats in them and some kind of grasses and crap. All I know is it's the bottom of my bathtub.
It just seems like you could eat it. Mm-hmm. Someone else says, man, the manly soap is overrated. I started using my girlfriend's body wash. Smells awesome. And now I don't have to buy myself body wash. All right.
Does she know you're stealing her body wash?
she'll know because it disappears quicker.
I mean, I can always tell when someone uses my razor, so to speak.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I know
do
when
too.
someone uses my goddamn razor. There's only one other person in the house who might use my razor. Regarding the proper care for your rectum, right? You just read that study about like, hey man,
anal health.
Don't use soap directly on your butthole anyway because it causes all these problems, etc. But then you're talking about wiping, and they said if you wipe 6 to 10 times, that's considered excessive wiping. Somebody here says, "Look, I'm sorry. There are times when it's like trying to clean pudding out of a shag carpet. Yeah. You need to wipe more than 6 to 10 times.
Yeah. Get a bidet."
And then someone else, I like this. You wipe till the brown is gone. Then you use wet wipes. That's all.
Hey, whatever your technique
is. Still brown.
Right, it's not like, if you have to wipe that much because it's a mess back there, it's not like you're just going to stop and be like, I guess I'll just walk around with poop in my underwear all day.
No, absolutely.
Don't want to break a rule. Well, the first rule is clean your butt.
I agree wholeheartedly. I think that was the most succinct thing. Wipe until the brown is gone. You can explain it to the kids. You can explain it to everybody gets it. When there's no more brown, you're done. Hello, Raymond. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola, pichulas.
Hola.
Raymond, welcome to the program. Random question. All right, let's see here. Raymond, what have you either used as a weapon or what was used as a weapon against you?
Oh, my goodness. Where do I start? Baseball bats. Got hit with the skiing sticks a couple times. But
ski poles?
Yeah, that's it.
Why was someone attacking? Like, what is the circumstance that this came out?
The circumstances on that was where I was still in high school. Me and a couple of my buddies went over to these college girls' house to drink, and it was their friends, and so these college guys wanted to start problems. So we just had to take care of business.
With ski poles?
Ski poles, had a baseball bat, ended up in the hospital with a concussion.
Did you take one to the head with a baseball bat?
I think it was a ski pole. I'm not sure. Can't remember much of it.
Okay, all right. Yeah.
So everyone just grabbed whatever they could and started swinging.
Did that end the party? I mean, did they take you to the hospital? Or did the girls take you to the hospital?
I ended up going home and left my parents a note, and then I woke up in the hospital.
Damn. Okay. How severe was the damage?
Not bad. Just concussion and stuff like that.
Have you ever had anything thrown at you in your adult life, maybe in a relationship?
No, I have not.
Okay, all right. Yeah, that's
a good one to avoid if you can.
I got a quick question for Ted.
What's up?
I got a quick question for Ted.
What's up?
Ted, hey, was that chick a redhead that was offering the fireball?
I think she was a blonde.
Oh, I was saying if she was a redhead, you could have got a shot of fireball you never get, bro.
Right? Where was it hidden?
Reason we asked, what have you used as a weapon or what was used as a weapon against you?
It's warm.
A man who allegedly tried to kidnap a woman on a Tennessee dog trail found his efforts thwarted when the victim smeared his face with her dog's poop, according to authorities. Michael James Ward, who is 47 years old, has been arrested and charged with aggravated robbery and aggravated kidnapping. A man recognized Ward in a Knoxville convenience store from police notices about the alleged attack online. Ward allegedly approached the woman on the dog trail asking for water, grabbed her arm, punched her multiple times, and tried to drag her into the woods. The woman was carrying a bag of her dog's poop, which she smeared on Ward's face. Ward wasn't done, though, police said. He came back to the victim knife in hand and stole her cell phone as she tried to call 911, at which point she ran away. It's not a bad play. No one wants to have their face covered in dog food.
My question is, what was her dog doing? You know, just if your dog's with you and someone is physically accosting you, every dog I have ever seen will at least intervene on your behalf.
Yeah.
Even if they get punted away, something, but like there's no mention of the dog doing anything. Unless they're like, open the bag, smear with my poop. Hello, Alex. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola.
Hola.
Alex, welcome to the program. Random question. Let's go with this one. Alex, when was the last time, and this might be hard to remember, when's the last time that you booed something? You're just like, this sucks. When's the last time you actually booed something?
Oh, man. Honestly, I'd have to say probably when we were at a car show, actually, at SIR, Pacific Raceways.
What happened?
Well, they had a couple different competitions going on, and one of them at that moment was a burnout competition. And this guy came out there, and his big old fancy brand new Challenger SRT8 Hellcat, and he was making a big deal, basically, kind of talking up the car before he went out there. He goes out there, gets into the burnout box. And as soon as he drops the clutch, ends up snapping both axles right out of the back of the car.
Yes.
Didn't even spin the tires.
Oh, God. Okay. All right. That's not bad. Ted, do you remember the last thing you booed? I was trying to think about this. It was kind of hard for me to go. I do remember one instance at Key Arena years ago, and I wasn't really privy to what was going on. Crowd just started booing around me, and what the hell is the guy's name? Clay Bennett. He was down on the court.
All right.
But I didn't realize what people were booing because I didn't recognize him at first. And I'm like, why is everybody booing? What are they booing? And somebody pointed over and like, that's what's his face in McClendon.
Were you like, boo?
Yeah, like, oh, you suck because they're trading the team away at that point in time.
Yeah, we did that as soon as you bought it.
It was like at the end of the Sonics era, and I do remember him getting booed. That was about it.
With
City never showed up.
With sporting events, you boo a lot of people, but
sure.
Usually it's not an issue, but I'm also to me, booing is not like this massive disrespectful thing. It's kind of it's booing,
right?
But oftentimes, like when I walk by people, if they're wearing a team I don't care for, I'll just kind of go boo.
Yeah,
and usually it's fine. But I did it some Ducks fans one day. They were not happy.
Well, they try to get in your face.
Well, they were playing up here. They were playing Washington. So it's not like look, I'm a transplant. So I go to Hussey games. I'll go to a Cougs game. I don't care. But I was walking across the street. I was like, boo, F you, man. I was like, oh,
it's easy.
Calm down.
Boo.
I'm a Terp fan.
Like, boo should not make anyone angry. That's what boo is. Boo is, I don't disrespect you. I just, I want your team to lose. Or I disagree with, they'll say, hey, we're closing at the bar. It's closing time. I'll give you a boo.
Yeah.
The situation sucks. I'm not mad at you.
Right.
You know what I mean? I think, that's the difference.
Mike,
the last time, actually, I was going to say, Miles, I was with you. It's when they killed the cart service on the plane.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God. Oh, yeah.
And it hadn't gotten to us yet.
Boo. Boo. That was me. Boo.
Yeah, it sucks.
Boo. They're like, do you want a water? I'm like, boo. Boo.
I remember hearing you back there, yes.
Boo. God, that sucked. Are the Mariners, are they mathematically eliminated?
I don't know that they're mathematically eliminated. We're only like 5 games back.
Yeah,
we still got a month to play, so mathematically, no. We're done.
But it's funny you say it. Someone, they texted in, I boo at every Mariners game I go to. I'm a season ticket holder.
Mm-hmm. I felt that pain for 1 year.
Is this the story you're going to read? I think you are.
The Mets?
I think that's ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, the reason we asked, when was the last time you booed something? Mets are a pretty bad slump right now. In typical New York fashion, the fans are starting to boo the team. Well, the players have decided to fight back. The players have begun giving the thumbs down sign whenever they get a hit, just to give fans a taste of their own medicine. Javier Baez explained, it just feels bad when I strike out and get booed. I want to let them know that when we're successful, we're going to do the same thing to let them know how it feels. He said, I play for the fans. I love the fans. But if they're going to do that, they're just putting more pressure on the team. That's not what we want. Unfortunately, this celebration might not last too much longer. Mets president Sandy Alderson issued a statement last night saying, these comments and any gestures by him or any other players with a similar intent are totally unacceptable and will not be tolerated. Fans at Citi Field have every right to express their own disappointment. Booing is every fan's right, which it is.
It is. But the other thing, too, is look, if you play on a team in New York or Philly, you have to understand. And look, you can win, but you rarely even win without having been booed along the way. Those two cities in particular, and I would assume any professional athlete, no, it doesn't mean you have to enjoy it or any of that, but understand if you play in Philly or New York or Boston sometimes too. They don't have a lot to boo about.
They don't.
Until the Patriots take the field this season. But they haven't had a lot to boo about. But if you play for a team, it does not matter the sport, in those cities, you're going to get booed.
And look, you know me, I'm always on the player side for most things, but it feels like this just feels dumb and petty for no good reason. You guys suck that bad.
You suck.
They're paying money to come watch you play. They get to boo you. And then you do something well and your reaction is to kind of boo them back. How does that help your fan base? How does that help anybody involved?
That would be a band, I don't know, they play their concert, they play the one song that nobody actually likes. So the band decides, you know what? We're going to keep playing the song over and over. It's like that. Don't make it
random.
It's okay to get booed, and if you suck, expect to hear it, man.
Yeah, right? It's I guess that's part of it, too. Where are these Mets players coming from? You're the ones that suck.
and they paid money to see you. And that's why, if it were free, they probably wouldn't care. Yeah. Goes a long way. Come on. Let's say hello to Matthew. Hello, Matthew. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola.
Hola. Matthew, welcome to the program. Random question. All right, let's go with this one. Matthew, who would you say was the worst person that you ever went out with?
Okay. The worst person I ever went out with?
Yeah.
Would be my brother. To be honest with you. Like, you mean like date? Is it like a girlfriend or like a person I took out with me?
Either way.
Thank you. Actually, I'll tell you what. The worst person I went out with was one of my very first long-term girlfriend. I took her to go see. Nickelback and at the Tacoma Dome in 2006. And just before they went on, she had been basically complaining about being told the entire show. Like it was 3 Days Grace, I think, is who opened for them. And during 3 Days Grace performance, which I was a huge fan of at this time, I was 16 years old. It was this big moment for me to see this band live. And like halfway through the performance, she just kept tugging at my arm, wanting to leave. And I can kind of understand wanting to leave. And I offered her the keys to go to the car and just wait in the car. And I guess that she took that to be pretty rude. She ended up doing that. And then I stayed throughout the rest of the show and had a blast by myself. But that was one of the worst times I've ever taken.
When you went back out to the car, was she still in the car?
She was. Oh, yeah. We were miles from home. She was very angry with me. But later she ended up apologizing for it. And she came around to not stand her ground too much on that.
Okay.
But,
all right.
She ruined the whole experience for me. Or she almost did.
Well, I mean,
hey, look, man, we met 3 Days Grace, and the lead singer ruined the entire experience
for all of us.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm not even kidding.
He's not the lead singer of the band anymore. Just to give you an idea, we weren't the only ones with that opinion.
Yeah, that guy. I've never actually just wanted to almost cussed, to physically assault someone that I'm interviewing as much as that guy.
There's been a couple of occasions, but that one was just like, what is going on?
That one was just different.
And not only that, we were in their dressing room. So it's like, what? You could already tell that the vibe in that room was really weird.
Right.
Even when we got there. Because they were just like, okay, you're going to do this, you're going to do that, you're going to do this, and you're going to get out. And like they were very, the management was very, straight. And
management and the singer. The rest of the band was fine. They really were.
Yeah. Everybody was great.
Mm-hmm. And then I got grief for it, the following Monday. Not a ton, but the boss was like, did you walk out in the middle of a 3 Days Grace interview? Because the manager contacted me. I said, I walked out, but to me, the interview was done. Because an interview requires that both the person asking questions and the interviewee speak. And when they decided to stop talking, I decided to leave. Like, what do you want me to do? Not my problem.
Reason we asked who was the worst person you ever went out with. This is a doozy. We get down to Georgia. 36-year-old man from Georgia named Rodney Metzer. He was just sentenced to 25 years in prison for what he did to his ex-wife. He was trying to pretend to save her. So here's his plan. He breaks into her house on January the 1st. He hid who he was by wearing a mask and disguising his voice. He roughed her up.
Hello.
He zip-tied her hands, put a pillowcase over her head, dragged her outside, and left her there. Now, after doing all this, he goes home, he changes his clothes, and he returns to the ex's house where she was still tied up. That's when he, quote, saved her. Now, the cops were not fully buying Rodney's story, and they later discovered surveillance footage of him leaving a store with zip ties in his hands. His computer also showed searches for things like, how long before you starve to death?
Oh, jeez.
Prosecutors called Rodney a master manipulator. Before this plan, he tried to win back the same ex-wife by faking a cancer diagnosis, but that did not work either. More of the Random Question coming up, 206-421-ROCK.
This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. When we think about the COVID-19 vaccine hesitancy in the Black community, let's remember, it didn't happen by chance. It's justified in history. But the will to change the narrative is strong today, and our people are lending their voices to the conversation. We're sharing our stories and the reasons that made us choose the vaccine so we can lead the way for others to make a well-informed choice too. To hear our stories, visit hereforuswa.org.
Geico asks, how would you love a chance to save some money on insurance? Of course you would. And when it comes to great rates on insurance, Geico can help. Like with insurance for your car, truck, motorcycle, boat, and RV. Even help with homeowners or renters coverage. Plus, add an easy-to-use mobile app, available 24-hour roadside assistance, and more, and Geico is an easy choice. Switch today and see all the ways you could save. It's easy. Simply go to geico.com or contact your local agent today.
Start summer up by mixing things up with top paint and stain brands at Lowe's. Shop HGTV Home by Sherwin-Williams, Valspar, Cabot to find the perfect pop of color or classic shade you've been looking for. And don't forget to prep your deck for the season with reliable wood stain and sealer. Now's the perfect time to complete your paint or stain project. Lowe's. All things summer, all at the right price.
Take the next step toward the career you want, be it business, cybersecurity, healthcare, or more. UMGC can help you get there. No application fee when you apply by August 31st. Visit umgc.edu, certified to operate by Chev.
99.9 KISW. Yeah! You're in the men's room.
That's all right. A question. 206-421-ROCK. Hello, Alex. Welcome to the men's room.
Hey, Teddy. How you doing?
Pretty good.
I'm just messing with you.
Oh, yeah, Alex. It's been a while. Good to hear from you.
Well, the sincerity is overwhelming. Really.
Well, is this the same guy that's always like, hey, Ted? Oh, no?
No, different dude.
Maybe.
All right, Alex, let's go with this one. When did you have to explain why you were naked? When did you have to explain why you were naked?
None that I can remember, honestly.
Like to keep your clothes on?
When I'm in public, yeah.
Okay.
I bet you the public appreciates that.
Yeah. So you never accidentally exposed yourself to somebody?
Not to my knowledge, no.
Okay. That's good to know.
Lucky you, man.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't happen much, but on occasion, like, I know I'm naked. There's a reason for this.
You talking about the time you were naked in the front yard?
Yeah, that I can't explain. I woke up naked, except for the motorcycle helmet on my head. It should be noted, I did not own a motorcycle, nor a motorcycle helmet. I woke up mere feet 2 doors away from my girlfriend's house, but it was a very crowded section of Baltimore, more or less, by Johns Hopkins University. I am laying just front yard, motorcycle helmet on, still have my boots on, otherwise butt naked. And I'm knocking on her door like you need, because people are honking at me, yelling all the stuff I would do. I get it.
Yeah, right.
But my thing was, I'm like, keep the motorcycle helmet on because I don't want anyone to recognize me. This is weird. I do not know what happened. Clearly, I am still drunk. Don't know what happened the night before. Entirely. I remember leaving the party, and then I remember waking up in the front yard. Whatever happened that I got a motorcycle helmet and lost my clothes, who knows?
This is the time I was going through a bad phase of sleepwalking. I don't think I do it nearly as much as I used to, but this was back when we were in Baltimore, and I definitely remember waking up, and it was because it was raining, and I was sitting in the lawn in my boxers. That was it. And I'm like, what am I doing out here?
Didn't you spoon your mother-in-law, too?
I did that naked, yep. That was not good. She never said anything the next morning, which was fortunate.
I woke up on a floor naked once. And it was like...
Your own home, or...?
No, it was like a condo. We were all rented at the beach. And I think I just got up to, like, go pee or something. Like, I still not positive how I ended up naked.
Right.
But I did. And then at some point just went to sleep on the floor.
Yeah, that's the thing. You don't really have an explanation. You can say, look, I know that I was drunk, but what happened from this point to the point you discovered me, no idea.
Reason we asked, when did you have to explain why you were naked? 52-year-old man in Tennessee got arrested after he jumped in a river naked, hopped on a log, and floated along while singing the Lee Greenwood classic, God Bless the USA. Someone called 911 around 11 a.m. and said they saw a naked man clinging to a log in a river about 70 miles east of Knoxville. The guy's name is Troy Hunt, and he refused to be rescued. They tossed him a rope from a few different bridges. As he went by, he wouldn't grab him. But they were worried he might go over a dam that was up ahead, so they tracked him with a helicopter. He made it out about 10 miles before they finally pulled him out of the boat ramp and in the middle of a public park. When they asked why he was naked, he said the current must have ripped his shorts off. He also said he didn't grab the ropes because they were yelling at him, and it hurt his feelings. They think he may have been doing some drinking earlier that morning.
I think
He's facing charges of indecent exposure and disorderly conduct, and he also had some outstanding warrants, so there was that as well.
And oddly enough, this story came up today, explaining why you're naked, all right? So in this case, we go to South Carolina. A naked guy was spotted running through the Lowe's home improvement store, so witnesses called the cops. Kevin Cooper, 38 years old. He was arrested Sunday and charged with indecent exposure. Now, when officers arrived, they reported finding the man standing outside a flower display wearing only a towel to cover himself. He told officers he thought he was being followed by people who were threatening to kill him. So now you're still thinking, but why are you naked? Well, he told police he was hiding behind a post when he heard his pants begin to beep, and he thought someone had planted a bomb in his clothes. So he removed all of his clothing. When employees saw him naked, they actually gave him the towel to cover himself. Well, they asked him to get dressed, but he said he would not get dressed because he was afraid his clothes would still explode. They had to take him to a hospital for medical clearance before he was booked into county jail.
Random.
Hello, Stephen. Welcome to the men's room.
Liquor and whore.
Liquor and whores. All right, Stephen, welcome to the program. Random question. Stephen, have you ever had a health scare in your life? Something that kind of freaked you out? Maybe you almost died or whatever the deal was, but maybe it was just your, blood pressure was high or whatever the deal is?
Maybe something kind of like that. So, I suffer from this thing. It's sinus polyps.
Ew.
I don't know if it's like giant tumor growths that are benign and they grow inside my sinus cavities.
Is that like between your eyes, you're saying?
Yeah, right up all the way down my throat. It comes all the way out my nostrils if they get too big. We don't know if it's from the burn pits in Iraq, but we're thinking that's when they started, was after my first deployment. And, it's pretty crazy.
Do they drain or do they have to go in and be removed?
So they've went into my sinus cavities. They brought in a rhinoplasty surgeon after my third operation, and he basically rode over all my sinus cavities. They went through. They pulled one of them out that was almost 2 inches.
Jesus, man. Mm.
Yeah, it was inside my sinus cavity. So they brought in like some super hot surgeon guy from the Air Force, and I was in the Army, so they brought an Air Force guy in to do the surgery for me.
And is it when you have these flare-ups or whatever the right term would be, are you aware what's happening inside? Like, is it harder to swallow or breathe or anything like that?
Yeah, for sure. It definitely. So we didn't know what it was. So in the Army, people kind of pick and poke, and so they called me Dog Boy because I would just be sitting there snoring, like I wouldn't even acknowledge I was struggling to breathe, because the tumors had clogged up about 70% of my airway.
Jeez. What are what do you have to go through, like extreme headaches or anything like that?
Yep. Big time. I have lifelong headaches now. And then it's kind of, I'll just be honest, it's embarrassing with the tumors, because what happens is they'll get to the point where they're so big and they literally just will burst out of my nose. The fluid comes all the way out, and it's like this disgusting mix of like red and yellow funky fluids that bursts out of them.
But is that a relief to you at the time when that happens? Does that relieve the pressure?
Yes, absolutely. It's a relief. It's a total 100%. Like it's like somebody's blowing a balloon up inside your head, and there's nothing anybody can do. And then when that bursts, it's so relieving.
Can you kind of anticipate when it's going to happen? Like, do they get more sensitive when they get to the point?
See them? Like, do they make your skin bulge or anything?
So they can actually, they get so large, they come out of my nose. Like, it looks like I have a booger, but in reality, it's like a benign tumor that I can, and this is once again gross, but I can grab that bad boy with some tweezers and then that'll cause it to burst and shrink up, and so then I make a doctor's appointment.
How often?
Yeah.
Like, how many times a year do you have to do that, or how many times are you on a routine schedule to see the doctor with this?
So back when I was in the Army, it was happening every year. It was, literally, like I was like postponing deployments to get my surgery all better and fly out to Kuwait to meet up with everybody in Iraq. It was pretty bad. And then once they brought in that hot shot rhinoplasty surgeon guy, he was like, okay, we're going to roto-rooter everything, and you shouldn't have any more issues. And only up until about a year ago did I finally start having polyps again.
Okay. Let me ask you this. Did other service members suffer from the same situation who were there at the same time you did? Is there a correlation?
No. So I signed up for this thing called like the Million Veteran Program, where they like document your blood and where you've been to all your deployments, and just to kind of show, hey, yeah, I was the only one out of my entire platoon, and nobody knew. Really, we didn't know until I got home, and we had to do to see the doctors and stuff, and they kind of rushed me in for surgery and was like, oh my gosh. So I got a bunch of cool photos of these things being pulled out. It's like one of the photos is like Total Recall, because they pulled one of them out of my nostril, and it looks just like the scene. I got a photo of it. It's crazy cool, and it looks just like Arnold Schwarzenegger pulling that big old thing right out of his nose. It was crazy.
That is crazy. That is a health scare. I would be worried about that.
Yeah.
That's legit.
I think we asked you the right question, I think.
Yeah, you got the right question for the right person. Jesus Christ, man.
The reason we asked if you ever had a health scare, a woman is crediting her Apple Watch for saving her life. Tucson-based Yoli De Leon felt a fluttering in her chest before she was about to take a walk in June. She's 70 years old, and she was wearing an Apple Watch that day, and she glanced down at her wrist and had a glaring message to seek medical attention.
Jesus.
It said, my heart rate was at 174. It said, you are an AFib. Call your doctor immediately. De Leon went to her hospital room and underwent a number of tests, including an electrocardiogram, where she was told her condition was life-threatening and that her Apple Watch was right. She was actually hospitalized from that point for 1 week. She was told that she had atrial fibrillation, which that results in an irregular heartbeat or quivering that can result in blood clots, stroke, heart failure, or other complications, according to the American Heart Association. 2.7 million Americans are living with the condition. Well, she wanted to show her gratitude to the tech that saved her life, so she reached out to Apple CEO Tim Cook and said she got a surprisingly fast response. I'm so glad you sought medical attention and received the treatment you needed, Cook told her. Thanks for sharing your story with us. It inspires us to push forward. The weirdest thing about this Apple Watch, I think I told you guys about this. A couple months ago, I was up in Lake Chelan. I got in the water, didn't think anything of it. Might have had a couple beers, you know what I mean? Like, time to jump in. Water was fine.
Yeah, it's
great,
a lake.
man. Hell yeah. I'm in there swimming around, really enjoying it because, you know, I don't swim a lot out there because the water's not warm enough. I'm like, this is awesome. This is great. And then my watch just buzzes madly. And I look at it and it says, you appear to be underwater. and I thought, oh, man, I forgot to take off my watch. I didn't realize, well, thank God it's waterproof. But I'm just thinking to myself, okay, well.
How long did it take to send you the signal?
Well, it just says you appear to be underwater. So it's like 15 minutes or so. I mean, it's probably in the water that long, just swimming around. But I'm like, okay, well, what if I was drowned? You know what I mean? Like, would it have to send off some beacon underwater? Like, this guy's pulse has stopped. He's underwater. You know what I mean?
Right. It's not helping you in that point. Like,
it was just asking me. I was like, man, that's crazy.
There should be like a case of emergency. You're like, whoever you put down, like, hey, Miles has been in the water for a while. Yeah, maybe give him a ring.
I mean, can it, like, if you're having a medical condition, can it call the ambulance?
I don't know if it can call the I have not, based on what happened with her, I do not. I know it takes my blood pressure all the time and my heart rate. Not my blood pressure, my heart rate. So I know that.
Heart rate, yeah.
So if something happened with my heart rate, because it'll tell me when I'm working out what my heart rate is, and you can see the little thing come on, like, you must be exercising. Then it'll ask me what exercise I'm doing. I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm exercising. Kind of.
Sure.
Does it ever think you're exercising when you're just having fun?
So I thought about putting it
with yourself.
I wear it on my left wrist.
Put it on your right.
I have thought about putting it on my right. I don't know.
See what happens. It seems like your heart rate would have. If you're having miles time, like
your heart rate is accelerated.
I wonder if it would ask me, are you having miles time?
We're going to ask you a direct question. Are you masturbating?
Yeah.
Or is this
right. Not are you having sex?
Right. No, I'm using the shake
you're
weight.
Running this fast.
I'm using the shake weight. That's what I'm doing.
Does it know when you're having sex and say, like, you appear to be having sex?
Your heart rate is up.
I wouldn't know the answer to that question, Ted, but I'll try the masturbation thing to see if it works out for me.
You got to let us know. I'm curious.
I thought about that before. Like, just rub one out and see what happens.
Random.
I mean, you must have worn it at some point when you've gotten down the business.
No, I've only had the watch like 2 years.
All right.
Tumbleweeds blown by.
What are you doing down there in the pond, Miles? Golfing?
Nothing.
Every weekend.
Hello, Austin. Welcome to the men's room.
Boobies and beers, boys.
Hola! Austin, welcome to the program. Random question. All right, Austin, you got this one. What is your scariest animal encounter? What was your scariest animal encounter?
All right, so it wasn't really mine, but it was my friend's. I mean, this was by the college that I went to in North Carolina. It was in Brevard, North Carolina, and it's kind of in the mountains. So, you know, they have, like, trails and stuff, you know, just like how we have here. But they left their trails open, like, late at night. They had this lookout tower that you can, you know, kind of walk up, you know, a good amount of ways, you know, up to the lookout tower. And, you know, tons of kids would go to this trail. And the college finally, like, had to tell people to stop going because apparently there was a bobcat or a mountain lion that was just, I guess, stalking kids. You know, kids would hear like growling and stuff. You could actually, it was so close where some kids were saying like it was, you know, about like 10 feet away. They had to get the police department out there looking for the mountain lion because they're trying to relocate it because there's so many people traveling that trail. But that's about my closest encounter, not mine. But
yeah, if you can hear it growl, it's too close.
Yeah, they said actually that like, you know, some people go out there with like knives and flashlights, and if you shine your flashlight just enough, you could see its eyes looking at you, and it would actually growl when you turn the light on it. So I mean, it knew exactly what it was doing. You know, it's just, I mean, you had to stay in a group, or you would hear, like my friend Sean said, he fell behind a little bit, about like 10 feet behind whatever group he was with, and he was like, you know, you could hear, you know, crunching and stuff like that, you know, like leaves. But he was like, when I fell behind, I mean, you could hear significantly closer to me than, you know, what it was when I was closer to my group. So I was like, man, you know, I'm never going on that trail. You guys got that one.
My buddy,
I'm right there with you, man.
My buddy went camping. I can't remember where he went. He camped every weekend. Anyway, so he was one of those guys that had a really nice Nikon camera. That was like his gig back in the day. And he'd take pictures of everything. Well, inevitably, one night at the campfire, they got all messed up. Started taking dumbass pictures and just doing stupid crap, you know, whatever they were doing. Anyway, he also developed his own film. He was that guy, right? Yeah. So he develops all these pictures, man, and you can clearly see this set of eyes. I mean, in like 3 or 4 pictures. You know what I mean? Just like, oh my God, Brett. Like, I don't know. It could have been a deer. Could have been a raccoon. It could have been a fox. It could have been
a ton of things.
It could have been a lot of things. But I mean, the eyes are so clear. There's no mistaking that there aren't a set of eyes. You know, like watching them in the background, you know, off this flash. I'm just like, man, there is something out there. It's like, well, we never had anything, you know, no bags were broken into, or nobody tried to rummage through our things. So, you know, whatever. But I was
feel like that's more on the.
It looked like a ghost or something.
Like the Appalachians.
Yeah,
I remember camping there, right? And just the difference in you shine the flashlight, and it had to be like 40 sets of eyes. We started freaking everyone out, and I said, look, this can't be bad. Either, like, it's a pack of wolves, which are not in Appalachia, right? Because I'm like, if there's this many animals this close together, and they're not fighting, they're all looking at us, I'm just assuming these are your small woodland creatures. Right. You know, nothing is going to kill it. If it's one set of eyes, then I go, that seems more problematic.
I've shined a lamp in a cave before and seen like 5 rats. You know what I mean? They were just big ass rats, and you're just like, because they freeze when the light hits them. But all you see is their eyes. I mean, their eyes are like.
But that's what they say about camping. You're right. If you're out in the woods, like if you shine a big light around, like you're gonna see eyes.
You're gonna see.
There's something out there looking at it. But more than likely, it's nothing that's really gonna hurt you.
Maybe.
More than likely, Mike.
What was your scariest animal encounter? A mountain lion attacked a 5-year-old boy and dragged the child across his front lawn in Southern California. That mountain lion was shot and killed by a wildlife officer. It was a 65-pounder, which is a pretty big cat. Attacked the boy while he was playing near his house in Calabasas. Dragged him for about 45 yards across the front lawn. According to a captain with the California Department of Fish and Wildlife. Boy did suffer significant traumatic injuries to his head and upper torso. He is still being treated at a L.A. hospital. The true hero of the story, by the way, is the mom, because she absolutely saved her son's life. The boy's mother was inside the house when she heard commotion outside. She ran out of the house and started punching and kicking and striking the mountain lion with her bare hands and got the mountain lion off of her son. Parents immediately drove the boy to the hospital where law enforcement were notified of the attack, and they sent a wildlife officer over to the house. The mountain lion was still there. At the home, in the bushes, with its ears back, and it was hissing. Due to its behavior and proximity to the attack, they took
We get it
real quick. Still to come, your guess is as good as mine. Our categories today, McDonald's and Tasty Pizza. You are listening to The Men's Room.
This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. When we think about the COVID-19 vaccine hesitancy in the Black community, let's remember, it didn't happen by chance. It's justified in history. But the will to change the narrative is strong today, and our people are lending their voices to the conversation. We're sharing our stories and the reasons that made us choose the vaccine so we can lead the way for others to make a well-informed choice too. To hear our stories, visit hereforuswa.org.
Geico asks, how would you love a chance to save some money on insurance? Of course you would. And when it comes to great rates on insurance, Geico can help. Like with insurance for your car, truck, motorcycle, boat, and RV. Even help with homeowners or renters coverage. Plus, add an easy-to-use mobile app, available 24-hour roadside assistance, and more, and Geico is an easy choice. Switch today and see all the ways you could save. It's easy. Simply go to geico.com or contact your local agent today.
Start summer up by mixing things up with top paint and stain brands at Lowe's. Shop HGTV Home by Sherwin-Williams, Valspar, Cabot to find the perfect pop of color or classic shade you've been looking for. And don't forget to prep your deck for the season with reliable wood stain and sealer. Now's the perfect time to complete your paint or stain project. Lowe's, all things summer, all at the right price.